Maybe that's better. Hello again, welcome back to the Weedy garden. There's been a fair few people that comment on my photography on this channel, which is fair enough because I actually am a photographer. I'm a photographer with a garden, learning little bit by little bit. On this video, if you're interested in photography or if you're interested in the hemp plant, then this is the video for you because I'm going to show you the setup I'm doing, which is actually quite involved. Because right on that other side of the camera there, in the wind, you can see that little hemp plant blowing and growing in the wind. I actually spent a whole day contemplating and speculating over how I'm going to do this shot. So I spent all day yesterday setting it all up. I've got my flash and my battery and stuff over there, and I've got a cable set up here with my one flash here, and then the next flash is over here, and then that flash is up here. Now I've got to put the umbrella on so it doesn't get water on the lens. I've hit a rock here. If you're interested in photographing plants with time-lapse, then this is like the exact video you want to see, because there's lots of things that I've learned about photographing plants since I've been doing the Weedy garden. Yeah, see, there we go. And that's going off I think every 5 minutes. And you'll be able to see if it's daytime or nighttime, because I've got the flash adjusted such that it's stronger than the sunlight. The sun is a factor we've got to deal with, right? So that's why I got my flash going off. You see the flash is set a lot stronger than the light of the sun. So whether it's sunny or cloudy or nighttime, it doesn't matter. I've got the same light on the plant all the time. That's the thing that's nice. And if you're a photographer and you want to know what the settings is, it's like on about f22, full power, and about 200 ASA, and it goes off every 5 minutes. And there's lots of things to consider when you're doing time-lapse of plants. It's really interesting watching how the seed wobbles when it comes out of the ground. It's trying to sort of comes out and it sort of finds its bearings. This is actually the first time I've ever tried to do time-lapse over a long period of time with flash outside. If you have it in an enclosed room and you have one light on it that's just above it, there's no wind, there's no variations of the light, then you'll be able to see how the plant grows and how it wobbles and how it moves according to whether it's daytime or nighttime outside. Even though it's got 24 hours light on it all the time, it still wobbles. But so if you're doing some time-lapse of plants growing, you want to have it really protected. So I've built many studios inside where I've got my lights inside. It's all closed off from the elements outside, and the plant can be free to grow. And then you can watch it growing. It's quite interesting, the movements that it makes. But outside, we've got wind to consider. We've got the variations of light to consider. You know, one moment it's bright and sunny, the next moment it's overcast because the cloud's gone by, and then it's going to be dark, and then it's going to be raining. So when you look at the picture, it's going to be lights all over the place, and the movement of the wind is all over the place. It's very hard to look at. You don't see that beautiful growing sort of process you see on the BBC with David Attenborough and all that. All that's done in studios, guys. Every single one of them's done in studios. A lot of the time they build their studio out in the rainforest, kind of like what I'm doing here, but I'm not stopping the wind and I'm not stopping the sun because I kind of want to see how that little plant reacts. We're going to watch it grow. We've been watching it from the seed. We're going to watch it grow all the way until it flowers, and I think it's going to be probably about 5 meters high. So I'm not going to show you on this video, but I'm just about to put up these huge big stakes, and I'm going to make a huge big frame for it. And that's not going to be part of this video, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these stakes in here like that. I'm going to hammer it in until it's about here, and then kind of like that I'm going to do it, and I'm going to wire this on nice and tight, and I'm going to put 5 of those around, and then I'm going to tie strings and make kind of this big spider's web kind of gymnastic sort of creation, sort of net that it can grow up through, so when its flowers and its buds get really heavy and the wind blows, it doesn't all fall down and break. And that's going to be very happy. Well, I wanted to make sure it was a female, so we had a look at it closely. There's some little hairs at a certain point on the plant that when it comes out of the ground and it goes a few weeks, it kind of goes from a baby to a child, if you can imagine like that in the plant language. And as it becomes a child, like just in humans, you can see, oh look, it's a little boy or it's a little girl, usually. But when it's a little baby, it's a bit hard to see if it's a boy or girl. But anyway, when they mature a little bit, 6-8 weeks, there's these 2 little hairs that you can see come up. And if they go like that, some people say different things, by the way. But these 2 little hairs, some people say that if it looks like that, it's a male. And if they look like that, then it's a female. Some other people say if it's got a little ball on it, it's a male, and if it's got those, then it's a female. But looking at this, it looks like it's a female, yay. So I can plant it, because I'm going to do a whole video about the hemp plant actually, and that'll come out when it's time to harvest, or when it's actually been harvested and I've done the stuff I need to do. But we'll see this, and I'll run this for another 6 months until the plant's pretty much ready to harvest. So I hope my camera lasts all that time. But you see I've got an umbrella over here to stop the rain coming down on it, and it's hammered in with a star picket and wired on with 3 wires, make sure it's stable. I've got a plastic bag, oh jeez, got a fright. I've got a plastic bag put on here, and I've got it gaffer taped around so it's nice and tight, and I've got it gaffer taped onto the legs of the tripod, like all around here, see? So it doesn't blow off in the wind. So if I need to check the camera, if I need to do anything in there, I've got to open this up. But I don't really need to go in there, because the memory card I've got, it's got room for thousands of pictures, and that's going to take months, so I can just check on it every now and again. And I've got the batteries in here. This is the battery pack for the flash, and it's a Photo B2 if you're interested. But I've got that on full power, so it's given all it can, so it's fighting with the sun on a bright day like today. It's still more powerful, and that's getting charged by the sun actually over in my shed with my EcoFlow charger. So that's keeping this running, and instead of changing the batteries all the time in the camera, I've got this system here that's also run by a 240 and goes into a USB stick and then goes in and charges this little thing that keeps, and I've got a little false battery popped in there, so that's kind of fed by that power system as well, so I don't have to change the batteries. And then I've got my timer. My timer is set to take a picture every 5 minutes, because every 5 minutes, that's a lot of pictures in 6 months. But sometimes I want to see what it looks like, because I want to see what it looks like during the day and during the night. Is the plant growing during the day, or is it growing mostly during the night? You know, when it's really hot, I'll be able to see how it droops, you know, and then I'll see when it rains, I'll be able to see how it springs back. You know, all those weeks and all those different little variations in the climate we'll be able to see the plant. I'll be able to sort of go back and zoom in and out on the life of it. It's going to be really great to look at, I reckon. So this is all covered up, so when it rains, nothing gets wet. And it's all wired down. See, I've got the wire on my flash, and it's wired to the fence, and it's all tightened up, and I've got a plastic bag on the top of it, so it can go through a pretty stormy storm. One more thing. This is interesting. See, because I've got this flash going here, right? And because I've got my camera pointing that way, it's just catching it on the edge of the frame, right? So what I mean by that is when that flash goes off, it's just going to hit the edge of this glass here. and that gives it a lens flare. And we don't want the lens flare because at night time when it's a little bit foggy and stuff like that, the light gives this not a very nice lens flare. So to stop the lens flare, I've created this post here, which actually creates a shadow between the light and the lens. And that shadow sits just there, so it doesn't create the lens flare. And this is all tied on with wire. I tied it on with wire, and it's got a plastic bag. And my cable, extension cable, has also got a plastic bag around the join, and I've put gaffer tape around each edge of it so we don't get water in it, and I put it up in this angle so when it rains the water's going to run down that way. If I just lay it on the ground, I've got the risk of the water running up there and then in here and creating a mess, you know what I mean? So it works. Okay, it's getting hot here in the tropics. I'd reckon we've got probably 34 degrees at the moment. So what is hemp and why is it so important? Is there any questions out there from all those 1,000 people who's watching? I'm working on a video about that, and that's going to be due to be released probably in March, April, May next year, and it's time to harvest it. The only plant that I know of that actually produces little things called cannabinoids, and every animal that's got a heartbeat has an endocannabinoid system, and it's the only plant in the world that actually reacts to that endocannabinoid system. And you might have heard about all that, but if you haven't, then wait for my video in March or April or maybe even May when it's time to harvest this, and I'll show you exactly how I grew it, exactly what they like, exactly what they're for. I'll tell you a little bit of history about the plant, and I'll introduce you to it, and I'll give you a bit more understanding about this wonderful herb, the queen of herbs we call it. So that's the photography part of it. So you can see what I go through to get a video sometimes. I'm certified to grow hemp. I've got my license through the hemp co-op, the Northern Rivers Hemp Co-op. And to find them, just go onto the Weedy garden and look for a picture of one of these leaves, and you'll be able to read more about the Northern Rivers Hemp Co-op. But the photography part of it is the part that really grabs my attention because I love the photography part of it. Well, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Beautiful, healthy, happy little hemp plant. Have a nice day, and I'll catch you on the next video. And remember, enjoy your lives. It's important.